Mm-hmm. I loved what you said the last time around. You said, I couldn't believe it. I came to work, I got to play all day, and then I got paid at the end of the month. It was great. I mean, that's a wonderful philosophy or a wonderful observation to be able to make after, a career of that type.
Well, one of the things that, I mean, I really was blessed to be, because I always wanted to be a salesman. That's what I grew up to be. And unfortunately, I went out in sales from university. After university, went out into sales, and basically I was drafted by the Argonauts, but too small to play. So that wasn't going to work out. So I went into sales, which I didn't have to go to university for. I went to university to play football. But anyway, went into sales and found within 6 months I hated it. And so I thought, wow, what am I going to do? Well, I loved sports, went back to school, got my degree in that. And I think, most high school teachers, okay, the reason that they're in high school, I think, is they love their subject so much that they want it. They want to pass that on to other people. They've got that passion that they want to share. And I think if you've got that passion for whatever it is you're doing, then that's what makes it fun. Yeah. How can it, it's not just phys ed teachers. I'm pretty sure, I've seen some math teachers around here and some history teachers that just love what they're doing. And they look forward to it. But they've learned, they either did it by nature or else they've learned to love the kids because they realize that every day when they're teaching history or they're teaching geography, somebody there, it's not necessarily 30 kids at the time, but somebody is just in rapt attention and just loving what they're hearing or what they're doing, and go out and you see the works that some of these kids do, the projects that they do in the presentation. Well, you've seen it because you've taught English. Mm-hmm. My brother taught English. Some of the stuff he brought home, I couldn't believe those are 14-year-old kids or 16-year-old kids that were doing these incredible English presentations. Mm-hmm. Anyway, it's a labor of love. I laugh because I'm making about 3 times the money now that I made teaching, and here I am retired. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not working. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so,
right. As if.
Yeah. But again, I attribute all of that to the fact that somewhere along the line, I learned, and I wish we could instill it in more high school students that that knowledge, okay, is powerful, and wisdom is more powerful. Mm-hmm. So if you take that knowledge, whatever it is, and apply it to something you're passionate about, well, then you keep learning. And if you keep learning, like there's lots of kids that come back too for night school or upgrading or whatever else, or take more college courses or university courses or whatever. Well, that was for those kids, usually it's instilled in them in high school. But that's not the majority. But later on, as they mature, a lot of these adults they'll tell you, I wish that when I was in high school, I listened to my teacher, because my teacher cared about me more than I cared about myself. And I've heard that from a lot of kids over the years, because I really do keep in touch with a lot of former students from, well, certainly more this school than any other, but I've also got a school in St. Thomas that I keep in touch with about 10 students from 1970. Mm-hmm. So that's a while ago, before I came here. Mm-hmm. When you go in your classroom, who knows? The students know. Mm-hmm. The students know. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's who matters most anyway. As far as I'm concerned, I always felt that my feedback would come from those that those that appreciated what I was trying to do. And even though I wasn't great, I always felt that if I could impact somebody every day, just if one kid every day, have a positive impact that's going to make a little slight change in his life, either in direction or anything else, but that was positive, then, what a great day I've just had. But you don't know that until later on when they tell you. No. And I know you've had lots like that, and for sure, Glenn, your husband, I know Glenn, because I've talked to a lot of the kids that loved your husband, so I know that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My last question to you was going to be, how would you like to be remembered as a teacher? But in a way, you've been answering that all along.
Yeah, I really have, because it's not about me. It really never was. So when you ask that question, it's like sometimes they, a really good analogy is that they suggest that what you do is sit down sometime for half an hour or an hour and just reflect on your life and write out your own eulogy. And they say, okay, now start living like that. Do you know what I mean? And I really feel that all along, as I said, I wasn't an academic and I wasn't a student of the game, but I loved the environment. I loved ODSS. I loved the kids, and coaching was just a dream come true. Just to be out there with highly motivated. The Penn 370 class I haven't mentioned. I think I mentioned in the interview. You know, here yeah, what a dream. You're with 25 to 30. Very driven, highly motivated, very teachable students, and basically they were all smarter than me. So
This is the leadership
oh, the
class,
leadership.
right?
Sorry,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
PIM 370
yeah.
is a leadership class in grade 11 phys ed, and it wasn't a phys ed class, although we did it as phys ed. It was a leadership class. Oh, just to be involved with those kids for the number of years I was, it was just a fantastic experience. Actually, the whole thing was a fantastic experience. And the answer to your last question is, it wasn't about me. I don't. If nobody remembers me, or you know what, it doesn't really matter, because what matters is that I know that I had the right attitude. And I know that for the most part, I made lots of mistakes along the way. I don't know who didn't, but for the most part, certainly because my heart was in the right place, even when sometimes my head wasn't. That's. I just like to be remembered, I guess, if in answer to your question, as someone who cared. Someone who cared about every individual. There was no, if I could be remembered as somebody that it didn't matter who it was. I cared about them. Now, they might say, yeah, but some kids will say you chose favorites. I did. I really did have favorites. My favorite was someone who tried as hard as they could, someone who cared about themselves, someone who shared with others, someone who was unselfish, someone who was giving, someone who as an athlete gave everything they had, not because they wanted to be the hero or the champion or anything, but because they were working beside, so that you've got a group of 5 and it's like the 3 Musketeers, all for one for all and all for one. And that's kind of my philosophy, so that's about it.
That's great.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Well, I hope that helps.
Oh.